This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 4th day of November in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. With the weatherman predicting that more heavy rainfall could pound Guyana's coastal region and the nation's capital city over the next 24 hours, various government departments and the Georgetown City Council dispatched assessment teams today to look at flooding in a number of areas. In Georgetown, which has seen widespread flooding in a number of communities, City Mayor Ubraj Narain joined councillors and officials of the City Engineers Department to visit those flood-affected communities, as well as the city's drainage system. Several stores along Regent Street in the heart of the shopping district were forced to close down their operations for the day, as they were inundated with floodwaters. Affected businessmen said they have been left counting millions of dollars in damages and damaged goods. City Mayor Ubraj Narain told News Source that all of the city's pumps are working and parts of the city will begin experiencing a relief from the floodwaters once the weather holds. He further explained that the heavy early morning rains came at a time when there was also a high tide, and that may have resulted in the situation around the city and other parts of the region.
All the pumps are currently working. We had one with a little fault yesterday at Lamaha Street. However, we get that to fix. NDIA assisted us. All the pumps are working. However, I'm out since 6:30 this morning visiting various areas. I visited Alberton, Albaistong, Prashad Nagar, Campbellville, Bel Air, Regent Street, and we observed many things, but we believe that this rainfall couldn't alone caused this flood.
But the mayor also raised concern about the level of the floodwaters, pointing out that the city has faced heavier rainfall in the past, but did not find itself dealing with the level of flooding that was experienced today.
We did went out there and we tried to reach the business people. Business people actually in Regent Street, they had lost millions of dollars in their dry goods. Houses in Albaistong and Alberton underwater. In fact, the bedroom, kitchen, and all these things underwater.
Narain also said he hopes the central government will play its part in supporting the city council's efforts to keep drains and alleyways clean. He said the local government ministry appears to be playing politics when it comes to City Hall. The new government has stopped the annual disbursement of more than $70 million that was given to the Georgetown City Council under the last government to assist with drainage works.
We need to stop playing a blame game and let us, the minister, call upon the minister to work, the council willing to work with him, but he seemed to play a very political scores, blame game. And we're not in for blame game. 5 years we went in power and this never happened. Because we used to get $75 million from government every year to maintain alleyways and to clean drainage and also to facilitate other infrastructure in the constituency. However, we did not receive that and the minister is not responding to those things I wrote to him.
Mayor Narain said he hopes the government will see the need to continue supporting the council's efforts to maintain the drainage system in the city. More news coming up in a moment.
Guyana, we've been through it all.
But as a people we have
weathered every storm
And risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
that gives it its strength.
all the people,
regardless of race,
class or religion.
we are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
The glorious days of shopping are back at Ravinas and Water Street and Anans on Regent Street. Now in stock are over 20 beautiful designs of vinyl and over a dozen gorgeous designs in rubber tile for your homes, offices, or work. We have over 16 attractive colors of leatherette for covering furniture. For fast and comfortable shopping, visitors to get the best prices in town. That's Ravinas on Water Street and Anans on Regent Street.
That's a great start powered by Yuasa Battery. Yuasa Battery is the #1 Japanese brand. It's durable, improved performance, maintenance-free, and comes with absorbent glass mat technology. Yuasa Battery, trusting starting power for over 100 years. Choose Yuasa Battery for the best battery for your vehicles. Yuasa Batteries distributed by JCA Trading Inc. Telephone number 231-9446-9.
We all know a strong educational foundation is a key to successful learning. Global Technology combines award-winning curriculum with innovative technology and teacher support to help students reach their potential. Our online platform creates an engaging learning experience. Using any device, you can be a part of amazing class discussions, collaborate with others, and have access to virtual learning software. With our multiple payment methods, you will never have to leave home. Find out how Global Technology can allow you to learn anything, anywhere, at any time.
For all the Zoom hashouts and recipe tryouts, the world changed and we were right there, standing with you, always near, getting closer in so many ways, laughing together as we face these days. And because we are Caribbean, we've got a special insight that tells us there's no need to worry, world. We'll be all right.
Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Welcome back. Police investigators are this evening continuing their probe of the death of a young couple in their Eccles East Bank Demerara home. Investigators now believe it may be a case of murder-suicide. The burnt bodies of 34-year-old Barbara Leroy King and his reputed wife, a 35-year-old Cindy Moses, were found in their Eccles home last evening after firemen responded and managed to put out a blaze in the house. News source understands that the bodies were burnt beyond recognition. The house was only recently constructed and the couple moved in just recently also. The fire was reportedly set by the husband, according to a police report. Neighbors said moments before they noticed smoke coming from the house, the husband and wife were heard in an argument. Earlier last evening, they were also spotted in the yard in the confrontation. Investigators intend to speak to family members and close friends as they await a post-mortem examination to determine the cause of death. Some family members now say there might have been warning signs.
He never do nothing here, and it's not a year since them take one another, right? And he always just there, throwing hint and throwing it. And I tell you, I said, I know, I had a feeling when you come into this house, this is what he's going to do. He's going to plan this or murder you and murder himself, but he can get the damage like how she did the damage. We can't see nothing for she. He's nothing to we. He is nothing to we, nothing.
Residents in the Eccles community have also expressed their shock over the murder-suicide. Let's tell you now that regional health officers across the country have been asked by the Ministry of Health to identify those health workers who have been on the front line in the fight against COVID-19. Those identified will benefit from the $150 million that was passed in this year's budget for healthcare workers. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony told News Source today that the government is hoping to get the process moving quickly.
No, well, we're now compiling that list, making one general list. And then, as you know, we have $150 million available. And so we'll be using those resources to give to those persons identified as frontline health workers.
The latest move by the government on the issue is coming at a time when negotiations are still ongoing with the Guyana Public Service Union on a more structured and long-term increase in allowances for the health workers. Last month, nurses at the Georgetown hospital held a number of protests to press the health ministry to meet their demands for improved salaries, risk allowances, and protective gear. The protest action was put on hold when the government and the union started the negotiations. Let's tell you now that the Antimacon company in Guyana has donated 100 doses of the remdesivir drug to the Ministry of Health. The drug is used for the treatment of seriously ill coronavirus patients. Chief Executive of Antimacon Guyana, Troy Cadogan, noted that the company was able to procure the drug through one of its suppliers and wanted to play its role in assisting the Ministry of Health in its efforts to fight the disease in Guyana.
But I decided to reach out to some of our suppliers and say, listen, what can we do to help from a pharmaceutical, actually pharmaceutical part of this, to help with stemming the death rate of COVID and the impact of COVID on the Guyanese society. And a couple of our suppliers reached out to us and said, there's this drug around the world that seems to be working, remdesivir. And we started the process. I spoke with the minister in the earlier stages, actively will accept it. And he said it's part of the treatment protocol in Guyana. So I signaled to the suppliers to send it in.
Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony said the Ministry of Health is grateful for the donation. He said remdesivir remains significant in the fight against COVID-19, mainly with those persons who are in the intensive care unit.
We have been using remdesivir now as part of our treatment protocol, and especially for those patients who are in our ICU. And this has now become one of the important components of treatment. Now, while I know you've said it's very expensive, the challenge that we have is that sometimes for one patient, we have to use 10 of these for the course of treatment. So it is timely, and I'm sure it's going to help some of our patients.
Dr. Anthony added that if there is going to be a real fight against COVID-19 in Guyana, there is the need for a multi-sectoral approach and collaboration with other players in the society. He welcomed the initiative of Antimacon. Antimacon Trading is one of the largest suppliers of pharmaceutical and other drugs and medications in Guyana. Well, the Guyana Police Force today defended its decision to offer a $3 million reward for information leading to the arrest of suspects in the murder of Berbice teens Isaiah and Joel Henry and Harish Singh. During a press conference yesterday, the attorney for the Henry family, Nigel Hughes, said the police force's offer of a reward almost 9 weeks after the gruesome murders is an admission of failure in the probe. But in a statement this afternoon, the police force described the statements by the attorney on behalf of the family as irresponsible. According to the police, the offering of the reward should not be seen as an admission of failure, but rather should be seen as a further effort by the force to solve the crime. The police force said while it is unsure of the agenda of the attorney, his statements are neither in the best interest of the current investigations nor the consolation of the bereaved family, since the statements could undermine public confidence in the police force and its probe of the 3 murders. While not offering any detail, the statement from the police force said it received significant assistance from the Regional Security Systems team of investigators, who believe that the police force has the competence to complete the probe. The Guyana Police Force has not held a press conference on the murders in more than a month, and repeated questions by the media on the probe have been ignored. Attorney Nigel Hughes, in response to the statement from the police force today, said he is impressed with the alacrity with which the Guyana Police Force has found it possible to respond to statements made during the press conference yesterday. The attorney said if the same diligence, commitment, and speed had been applied to the investigation of the murders of the young Henry boys, the investigations might have been at a different place today. The opposition APNU-AFC is moving ahead with the filing of legal proceedings over the appointment of Tourism Minister Anish Waldron as a Member of Parliament. The APNU-AFC remains convinced that Waldron was still a U.S. citizen when she took the oath as a Member of Parliament. The Guyana Constitution prohibits dual citizens from becoming members of Parliament. The minister has claimed that by the time she took the oath of office as a Member of Parliament, she had already renounced her U.S. citizenship. Efforts by the opposition to get a copy of that renunciation certificate from the clerk of the National Assembly have so far failed. The APNU-AFC on Tuesday warned that the clerk of the National Assembly had 24 hours to provide a copy of the certificate or face legal proceedings in the matter. The clerk has not provided any response to the opposition's request, resulting in the decision of the opposition to move ahead with its planned court action. Opposition Member of Parliament Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford told news sources this evening that he is currently in the process of putting together the court action and will move ahead with the filing. Meanwhile, in a statement this evening, the APNU-AFC accused the U.S. Embassy here in Georgetown of being unhelpful with recent statements in the matter. A spokesperson of the U.S. Embassy was quoted by the Marara Waves news outlet as stating that the renunciation of a person's U.S. citizenship takes place from the time that person takes the oath of renunciation. However, the APNU-AFC said the unsolicited comment from the U.S. Embassy in the situation is concerning, while noting that before one renounces their citizenship, there are a number of things that must be completed in keeping with U.S. law. The APNU-AFC said the timing of the U.S. Embassy's statement at the time when the clerk of the National Assembly is reportedly seeking legal advice is also concerning, and the embassy needs to clarify the statements made by its spokesperson, as the statements appear to run counter to established practice and U.S. federal law. According to the coalition, the position of retrospective application of renunciation in U.S. law, as at the date of taking the oath, is not applicable and legally untenable in Guyana as regards to the qualification for membership of this country's National Assembly. Guyana has recorded 79 new cases of coronavirus, with the majority of those new cases coming from Region 1. The death toll in the country stands at 130. Of the 79 new cases, Region 1 has recorded 34 new cases, while Region 4 has recorded 25 new cases. The remainder of new cases are split between 5 other regions. The total number of active cases in the country is 787, with more than 700 of those persons in home isolation. The country has also recorded 74 additional recoveries. The total number of recoveries since the first case in Guyana is now 3,394. There are 13 persons in the coronavirus intensive care unit tonight. Across the Region is coming up next. Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
Season is here once again, and we encourage everybody to be safe. Between October 23rd and December 31st, buy your groceries and fuel from Falls, and you can win a Christmas hamper every week or your fuel purchase free. Just spend $3,000, complete the coupon, drop it in the box, and then listen for your name. And to make it even better, you can win a bumper hamper on Christmas Eve day. Yes, our prices are great, the environment is safe, and everyone wins when you shop in the Falls Christmas promotion, Land of Canaan.
Been through it all.
But as a people we have
weathered every storm
and risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
that gives it its strength.
all the people,
regardless of race,
class, or religion.
We are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Across the region right now, Argentina is expecting 10 million doses of Russia's main experimental COVID-19 vaccine between December and January, the government has announced. The vaccine, known as Sputnik 5, is given in 2 doses and could begin arriving as early as next month in Argentina. The price of the Russian vaccine will be more or less average compared with others, the president has said. He said the country has a proposal from the Russian Foreign Ministry and the Russia Direct Investment Fund to see if Argentina was interested in having the doses of vaccine in the month of December, and the country said it was. The Russian Direct Investment Fund is backing the development and rollout of the coronavirus vaccine. Grenada's tourism minister says that the announced 4-week lockdown in the United Kingdom will have a negative effect on the island's tourism industry, which began the rebound phase following the resumption of international flights on October 1. Grenada went into lockdown in late March as part of measures aimed at controlling and containing the spread of coronavirus, after confirming its first case of the virus that killed more than 1 million people across the globe. The British Prime Minister recently said the lockdown will begin on Thursday in the UK. The Chief Executive Officer of the Grenada Tourism Authority told reporters that the authority is yet to hear how the UK lockdown will impact the scheduled flights to Grenada. However, officials are worried that those flights will be affected. And finally tonight, international news. The outcome of the US presidential election is still to be concluded. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden's campaign said the race was moving to a conclusion in their favor. But the US President Donald Trump claimed to have won and vowed to launch a Supreme Court challenge without providing evidence of fraud. Several key states were expected to finish counting by the end of today, but the election may not be decided for days. The Biden campaign said it is expected to win because several states will be called for them on Wednesday or Thursday. But the Trump campaign said it was confident that the math was in its favor. The U.S. is on course for the highest electoral turnout in a century. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. Gordon Mosley reporting.